So the Uprising pre-release event is happening soon at local game stores around the country, and I myself am extremely excited for the new set. So much so that I actually took a trip out to Las Vegas to play the world premiere event for Uprising. And I'm super excited to play more Flesh and Blood at the upcoming pre-release as well. So if you feel you might need a primer for the event in question, that's what I'm here for. Join us in this Uprising pre-release guide. So at the pre-release, you'll be given 2 promo cards, along with 6 packs of Uprising. Using these, you build a 30-card minimum deck, based around one of the 3 heroes in the set. And yes, you may include your promos in the deck as well. The 3 heroes you can play as are the Draconic Illusionist Dromai, the Draconic Ninja Phi, and the Elemental Ice Wizard Icelander. Each of these heroes has a unique line of play they want you to follow, so let's go over the heroes one by one, along with any important cards to look out for in your sealed pool. To begin, let's talk about Dromai, the Draconic Illusionist. Dromai's ability allows her to create Ash tokens whenever you pitch a red card for resources. Not only that, but she also gives your Draconic allies go again if you've played a red card this turn. These Ash tokens don't do anything on their own, but there are plenty of cards that can transform them into allied dragons, such as the many dragon invocations in the set. And with the weapon Storm of Sandakai, these dragons can attack for free with go again with Dromai's ability if you've played a red card this turn. These allies will stick around until destroyed and can attack turn after turn if not dealt with. Do be careful though, because of the Ash tokens, all your dragon allies' attacks do have Phantasm, meaning when attacking, if they're defended by a non-illusionist attack action with 6 or more power, the attack will be negated and the dragon will be destroyed. This also gets rid of the go again from the attack, so you don't actually get another action after that. This sounds bad, but don't worry. There actually are not too many 6 power cards in the format, so this is a pretty rare occurrence. All the Draconic invocations are very powerful, so having a lot of them in your sealed pool is a good reason to play Dromai. I'm not going to talk about any of the Majestics or Legendary cards in the set, as it'd just make the video too long, but my favorite dragons include Chromai, which nets you an action point allowing you further attacks even if Phantasm destroys it, Caloria, which nets you card draw on hit, and Visernikai, which may have a low health total but comes with a lot of damage if your opponent lets it hit. All the Invoke cards are rare or higher, so chances are you won't get to see a lot of these dragons in your sealed pool. At common, however, there are a number of cards that can transform Ash into this token called the Aether Ashwing. These allies don't attack for that much, but the damage can definitely build up over time. Rake the Embers is definitely the most powerful of these Ash transforming cards, with the red version turning up to 3 Ash tokens into Ashwings. Alongside it, Billowing Mirage and Skittering Sands are also powerful ways to gain Ashwing as well. And while most of Dromai's Phantasm attacks are from the dragon allies, she also gets a couple of powerful Phantasm attack actions as well. Dunebreaker's Cenopai and Embermoss Cenopai are both overstated attack actions with Phantasm. They're both quite powerful and give you an Ash token as a consolation prize if your opponent manages to pop their Phantasm. While Dromai comes with a lot of powerful attacks, she also comes with her fair share of defenses as well. For one, often enough your opponent will have to spend resources to attack your dragon allies, which can help you preserve your life total. Outside of that, the card Sandcover is a card that can turn one of your Ash tokens into a powerful piece of defense that works even against arcane damage. Finally, of course, we've got to talk about the Illusionist equipment. Equipment in general is extremely powerful and limited, as it's an ever-present free effect. Good equipment can definitely sway you to playing certain classes. Silken Form is the Draconic Illusionist arm, with Quell 1 that can turn a piece of Ash into an Aether Ashwing. Having a built-in way to turn your equipment into Ashwings is incredibly strong, so definitely a card to look out for. The other Illusionist equipment is Silent Stilettos, a leg piece with Arcane Barrier 1 that can gain you back an action point if your Phantasm attack gets destroyed. This ability costs 3 resources, so it can be a tad awkward, but good if you have a lot of other allies that need to attack. The Arcane Barrier is also very useful against wizards. Overall, Dromai is a powerful hero with a good mix of offense and defense that can build up a massive army of dragons to fight for you. She needs a lot of red cards to work properly though, and do be careful of your opponents popping your phantasm attacks and ending your turn early. As long as you have a way to get those Ash tokens and powerful ways to transform them into allies, the deck should run well. So with Dromai out of the way, let's talk about Fi next. The Draconic Ninja allows you to start the game with a Phoenix Flame in your graveyard, and has the ability to bring it to your hand once a turn for 3 resources as an instant. This costs less for every Draconic chain link you control, so if you have 3 links, this ability can be used for free. Phoenix Flame is a token that you may include up to 3 copies of in your limited deck, so if you don't open any in your pool, don't worry, you can still include them in your deck. And since Fae can place one of them in your graveyard at the start of game, you definitely want to be running at least one of them to make use of Fae's ability. And Fi's game plan is to just extend the combat chain with Draconic attacks as long as possible. He has a lot of cards that benefit from doing so after all. The best of the bunch are Rising Resentment, Mounting Anger, and Engulfing Flame Wave, which are all powerful go-again attacks with on-hit triggers that care about the number of Draconic chain links you control. In this case, Rising Resentment gains you resources, Mounting Anger gives your attacks a buff, and Engulfing Flame Wave gives you card draw. And I haven't even mentioned Soaring Strike, which has an on-hit to give your other attacks go-again. Since most of your ninja attacks already have go-again, this is a little less powerful than the ones discussed above, but still quite good. Overall, these are all powerful cards and definitely worthwhile includes into your deck. Curiously enough, Fi also gets a second set of go-again attacks. Ronin Renegade, Dust Runner Outlaw, and Rebellious Rush may all be worse versions of the go-again attacks just mentioned, but don't get it twisted, these are also incredibly powerful and aggressive cards to keep an eye out for, even without the on-hit trigger. And you know how weird it was to see Fi get 2 sets of go-again attacks? Well, what if I told you he actually got 3 sets instead? Yeah, Lava Vein Loyalty and Cinderskin Devotion only have go-again if you control at least 2 Draconic chain links, but they make up for it by blocking for 3, which is something the other ninja attacks can't say they do. Very powerful includes as well. Alongside these 2 attacks, Fi's weapon, the Searing Emberblade, is similar, in which it gains go-again if you have at least 2 Draconic chain links. It's a powerful weapon and definitely helps you extend your chain even further. Finally, onto the equipment, Fi gets the Draconic Arms Heatwave, a powerful piece that can buff your Phoenix Flames at instant speed. It's a good reason to include additional flames in your deck, as all of them will get the buff when played that turn. Fi also gets the Tide Flippers, which can give certain attacks go-again, though it's a tad restrictive, only working on small attacks. But the card also has Arcane Barrier, so it's a welcome piece of equipment against Icelander. Overall, Fi is definitely the most aggressive of the heroes in this set, and is able to make some hyper-aggressive and explosive plays, being able to chain 4 to 5 attacks per turn easily. This is helped by the Phoenix Flame, which ends up being a free 1 attack on Draconic chains with 3 attacks, and can help further extend the chain. Fi is a powerful option, but do keep in mind that his attacks definitely don't block the best. He is definitely the weakest hero on the defense, so be careful and try to keep the tempo while playing him. And now that we're done talking about Dromai and Fi, we can discuss their shared talent, Draconic. There are a good number of powerful Draconic cards that either of these heroes can use, and should definitely be considered when choosing who to play. To begin, let's discuss the new Draconic keyword, Rupture. These Rupture cards gain additional benefits if played on Chainlink 4 or higher. This sounds pretty difficult, but both Dromai and Fi have ways of extending the chain further, so it's definitely not impossible to do. The best of these has to be Breaking Point, a powerful 5-power attack that destroys arsenals on hit with the Rupture trigger. But outside of this, Searing Touch and Lava Burst are also powerful cards as well, though they are a lot weaker without the Rupture ability. Luckily, all 3 of these block 3, so if triggering Rupture becomes impossible, they are quite good at blocking. Outside of these Rupture cards, there are also a lot more cards that synergize with Phoenix Flames as well. Yeah, these flames are not exclusive to Fi, Dromai can play them as well. and you may want to do that if you have a couple copies of Flame Call Awakening, a powerful 3-attack go again that can tutor for a Phoenix Flame if you played a red card earlier this turn. Flameborn Retribution and Inflame can return Phoenix Flames back from your graveyard to your hand, and Burnaway can become a powerful 0-for-4 power go again if you exile a Phoenix Flame from your graveyard. All these cards are quite powerful, and keep them in mind while deck building, as they definitely can affect the number of Phoenix Flames you run in your deck. Outside of these, also keep in mind the card Blaze Headlong, a powerful 4-for-0 that gains go again if you played another red card this turn. And finally, the Draconic equipment Sash of Sandakai is a powerful piece that can net you an additional resource if you played a red card this turn. A strong option to help you get to those rupture triggers if you're a resource short. And yeah, we're finally done talking about the 2 Draconic heroes. But if you're not a fan of playing with fire, the final hero of the set, the Elemental Ice Wizard Icelander, may be more up your alley. So, Icelander has the ability to play non-attack action cards on your opponent's turn from her arsenal as long as they are blue. Outside of that, whenever you play an ice card on your opponent's turn, they gain a Frostbite token. For those of you who don't know, Frostbites make your opponent pay an additional resource for their first card or ability they play until the end of their turn. So overall, Icelander wants you to be playing a lot of blue cards, and more importantly, a lot of ice cards that are blue, to give your opponent those Frostbites in question. And to add to that, the wizard weapon, Waning Moon, has the ability to deal arcane damage as an instant, dealing more damage on your opponent's turn. The kicker is that this ability can only be activated if you play a non-attack action this turn. This is a powerful ability that further incentivizes you to play with Icelander's instant speed ability from Arsenal. So the most important cards to keep in mind for Icelander would definitely be the cards Frosting, Aetherhail, and Ice Bolt. These are all very powerful arcane damage cards, but they're also ice cards. This is helpful for ice fusion cards that require you to reveal an ice card in your hand to gain an additional effect. And the blue versions of these cards are especially powerful, as they can be played at instant speed from Arsenal to deal some arcane damage, and as ice cards, they also give your opponent a Frostbite as well. Outside of these cards, there are also a number of powerful elemental wizard cards to keep in mind. The most powerful of them has to be Aether Ice Vein, which when fused can force your opponent to pay 2 or discard a card. Since arcane damage is pretty tough to block, often enough your opponent won't be able to prevent this discard trigger. Alongside it, Polar Cap can give your opponent a Frostbite on hit when fused, and Icebind can freeze your opponent's arsenal for a turn. Yeah, freeze is a new mechanic I should explain. Essentially, a frozen card cannot be played, and activated abilities of that card cannot be activated. So in this case, your opponent cannot play their arsenal card for the turn. These are all powerful abilities, and the blue versions can also be played from arsenal as well. They do need an ice fusion to be able to get that hit trigger off, so be sure you have enough ice cards to facilitate this. For pure ice cards, the most powerful is Cold Snap, which wants to be played from arsenal as it draws you a card if played there. It also freezes the opponent's arsenal or an ally they control, unless they pay a number of resources. The blue version of this card, of course, is very powerful, but all of them are good. The other powerful ice card I wanted to discuss is Arctic Incarceration, which helps give your opponent a number of Frostbite tokens. This is a powerful card that can help delay your opponent, and the blue version of the card can be played on your opponent's turn to give them 2 Frostbites for free, one from the effect and one from Icelander. A good delay card that can help slow your opponent down even further. On to the equipment, Conduit of Frostburn is your Quell Arms, with the powerful ability to allow your next source of arcane damage to destroy your opponent's frozen arsenal. This is an extremely powerful effect, and can definitely make your opponent think twice when you play cards like Cold Snap. Conduit of Frostburn synergizes super well with the ice equipment Glacial Horns, which can freeze a card from their arsenal and an ally they control as well. This combined with the Conduit allows you to essentially destroy their arsenal for free if your opponent cannot block your arcane damage properly. The final piece of equipment is the Spellfire Cloak, which has Arcane Barrier for matchups against other wizards, and can net you resources that can only be used on your opponent's turn. This is an extremely powerful effect, and can help you have the resources to cast your Arsenal Blues on your opponent's turn along with using your weapon with it. Overall, Icelander is a powerful option and the most defensive of the heroes. Although she has the least starting health among the heroes, she makes up for the health difference with the powerful ability to play on your opponent's turn as well as yours. She's not going to be able to do the crazy high damage turns that Dromai and Phi can do, but she has the ability to prevent those two from making turns like that by giving them frostbites to cut their turns short. She is a fairly defensive hero, though do keep in mind that you absolutely need to have those blue ice and wizard cards in order to properly play her. So that's all the heroes. Now let's talk about some of the generics to keep in mind. Scar for a Scar got reprinted, and Red Scar is definitely an auto-include in any deck you create, no questions asked. Outside of that, Red Flex is a powerful and flexible card that works as either a 4-power 0-cost card or a 6-power 2-cost. You can pay the extra 2 to have it block as a 6-power card, which can be used to pop Phantasms from Dromai. Red Brothers in Arms can also pop Phantasms, and when used to block can defend for 4 if you pay a resource. Finally, the red and yellow versions of Fiandrel's Fighting Spirit can also pop Phantasm, and gains you life if you attack or block with less health than your opponent. This is a powerful ability and can be used to great effect with Icelander, who naturally starts the game with less health than the other two heroes. Alongside these cards, Sigil of Protection and Oasis Respite are powerful sideboard cards that can block arcane damage if you face Icelanders. Sigil can also be played mainboard in Icelander, as it can be played alongside your weapon for a single blue pitch card. And definitely keep in mind Critical Strike, a 1 for 5 with no effects, but it blocks for 3, which is quite good for a generic. Definitely a worthy option for any deck. On to the equipment, there is a set of Quelling robes, sleeves, and slippers, all of which have Quell 1. These can be used to block the 1-power attacks Dromai and Phi have, and can also be used to block Icelander's arcane damage, so they are definitely worthwhile includes. Finally, there's the headpiece Helios Mitre, an expensive version of the Quell equipment, but it actually is a token, meaning any deck can include it if they want, whether they open it or not. So it's definitely worth playing if you don't have another headpiece. And yeah, that's all I really wanted to discuss about the pre-release. From what I've seen at the world premiere, it seems that Phi is the most powerful of the bunch, and a consistent pick among people, though Icelander can be powerful if you get the proper cards. Dromai can also be good, but you have to get lucky with opening those invocations, and Ashwing transforming cards as well. But yeah, the format is a lot of fun, and hopefully your pre-release will go well. Let me know if you have any questions about anything in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe. I'm planning on releasing some deck techs on some of the new heroes, so if that sounds like something you'd like to see, be sure to tune in. But that's it for now, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!